Where do you remember the first moment someone told you that? Do you remember the first moment someone said, "Hey, do you know the Halloween mask is you?"
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Hey, Mr. Shatner, it's Jake Hamilton in Chicago. How are you, sir?
So well, Jake, yourself?
I'm doing incredibly well. I have to tell you that this is the honor of a lifetime to be able to speak with you, sir. I really appreciate you taking the time, and seriously, this is massive for me. So seriously, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm going to jump right into this because I have so many questions for you. I got to say, the technology on this is incredible. You were filmed in 3D cameras. You spent more than 45 hours over 5 days answering 650 different questions. It honestly reminds me of something that we would have seen on Star Trek. I'm curious, did that thought ever cross your mind when you were doing this? And do you remember the first time you realized that a fictional piece of technology from Star Trek was actually becoming a reality? Because I feel like that's happened over the last 55 years.
Well, it certainly has. A lot of the technology that was spoken about in Star Trek is becoming available now. But this thing, this StoryFile thing, is really of the future. StoryFile is the name of the company. Storyfile.com/life is how you can access the information I'm going to briefly give you. StoryFile is a company that will process what you speak into your recording device. You speak into your telephone and answer questions, some of which we supply, or ask your own questions, have somebody ask you questions. Whatever you feed into that image that's recording your face and your voice will be processed by artificial intelligence. And when it comes out, you'll be able to press a button and that image will answer a question that you answer. The complexity of the answer is dependent on how much time and complexity you have given the artificial intelligence. So if you spend 5 minutes, it'll be yes and no. But if you spend 5 hours, if you really go into depth about your life, about the answer to the in-depth questions, you have a piece of material that is now available to the future. So that your great grandchildren can say, what was he like? He'll answer a question, they'll press a button, and your image answers a question. It's living in the future. You have access to the future somewhat.
It really is unbelievable. I read a quote from you where you said that this is a legacy and that this is what you would want to leave your children. This is what you leave on your gravestone. I'm sort of curious, to what degree have you started thinking about your own legacy? You know, you have this now for all of us really to be able to enjoy, but have you started looking back at your own career, your life? Like, what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of in my life? We have family, all the standard answers, but I'm not proud of, the word proud doesn't enter into it. Appreciate the health and the energy I appreciate the way I've been able, a way fate has allowed me to live, because so much of your quality of life is accidental. If you have a bad accident, you're not going to be as happy as if you don't have that accident. So luck has a great deal to do with it, or faith, or whatever suits you. So yes, my ability to talk to you intelligently is something I'm very proud of.
Over your entire career, I would imagine you've been interviewed thousands upon thousands of times. You've been asked just about every question there is possible to be asked about every facet of your career. Whenever you sat down for this interview, for StoryFile, and did this, were there any stories that you told that you thought to yourself, I've never told that to anyone before?
Well, in doing this interview for StoryFile, all of us, me, I spent 5 days, but you doing it for a brief period of time, it's up to you, of course, how honest you want to be. But imagine dropping all your pretenses, all your shields, all your masks, and giving an honest answer, because this is an answer that You don't have to fool anybody. You don't have to be somebody you're not. You can give this honest answer that you've come up with from your soul, from your heart, so that your grandchildren can appreciate exactly who you are and what you do. That that is the enormity, really. Is almost like being examined psychologically, because if you allow yourself to be totally honest, you're now saying things you might not have said to strangers, but you're allowing yourself to say it because it's not to strangers necessarily. It's also to untold future generations of people you wish you could love, but you're not there, but who access you and in a way you are.
I absolutely love that. I've never had the pleasure of interviewing you, sir, and I've always wanted to ask you this, so I was wondering if you would indulge me. And I think it would be a great question to end on. In all of your time spent with Star Trek, whether it was the series or the movies, the fans, the conventions, 55 years worth of Kirk, what was your single happiest moment? What was the moment where you paused and went, you talk about appreciation, I appreciate this?
Well, I'd love to say, this moment, I stepped on the stage, but Star Trek has been a joyful experience for me. Filming with my friends and going every day to do these wonderful shows, wonderful plots and dialogue. It was great. Going on stage in front of 15,000 people and spontaneously entertaining them for an hour or whatever it is. That was a great that is a great pleasure. I'm still doing it. Being able to perform and amusing and entertaining people without any written material like we're doing today is joyful too, if I can entertain them. So the whole experience, the gestalt of the experience is joyful. I point to Star Trek as really meaningful.
And I'm going to cut you loose on this. StoryFile, the technology is unbelievable. I've been telling everyone about it all morning. It's truly, truly fascinating, the amount of time you sat there answering questions. I'm going to ask you a very random, specific question. I'm curious if you talked about it in StoryFile. And I know you've talked about it before. The Michael Myers mask, the Halloween mask, of course, modeled after Captain Kirk. Do you remember the first moment someone told you that? Do you remember the first moment someone said, "Hey, do you know the Halloween mask is you"?
Well, just what you said is in all probability what somebody said to me. I don't remember the exact moment, but I thought, is that a joke? Are they kidding? And then I don't think I saw the movie, but I saw the mask probably in a picture, and I recognized it as the death mask that they had made for me. They made a mask of my face on Star Trek with clay so that I wouldn't have to be available for the prosthetics that they would put on my face to look old or evil or whatever it was that they were making me look like. So that mask existed in Star Trek. So somewhere along the line, somebody got that mask and made a mask of it for Halloween, and then the story is, get me a mask, said the director. So the guy ran into this Halloween store and grabbed this mask, and it happened to be of me. That's the story I know. How true it is, I don't know.
Well, I have to tell you, Mr. Shatner, one, I thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with me for this interview. This was the honor of a lifetime. And I also want to thank you for sitting down for hours over days and answering hundreds of questions so that people can enjoy your stories and your anecdotes for a lifetime, sir. I really cannot tell you how much of an honor it was to be able to speak with you, sir. I really hope you enjoyed this interview.
I appreciate you saying that. Take care.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.